Hello everyone, welcome to the QuesterMage, Mage's Quest to talk about games. In today's video I want to talk about Arcade Paradise coming to Nintendo Switch. As you can probably hear, my voice has still not recovered from when I was sick last week, but hopefully it's good enough to make one of our videos. So, here we go. Please note this is not intended to be a review of the game itself. I tried to collect relevant information on the games, digest user feedback while adding my own observations and or opinions, condensing these into an informational video which I hope is helpful and or enjoyable. We have a few videos talking about games, mostly arcade and retro on the channel. If you'd like to watch these, then please take a look. If you like our content and want to help the channel grow, please click that like, subscribe, and notification bell for more of our content in the future. If you're one of the 70 plus subscribers on the channel so far, thank you very much. It is literally the only way this channel can grow. For this video, I'll be focusing on the regular retail version of this game for the Nintendo Switch. To be fair, I was a little confused as online I mostly saw this cover, which looks like the regular retail version, but also found this one, which I initially thought was some form of edition. After some research online, it seems like this is going to be the regular retail version we will get when buying the game. This game does seem to include our friend Game in a Box, not its nemesis Code in a Box, but Game in a Box itself. The studios involved are Wired Productions and Nosebleed Interactive. The game will be launched on the 31st of May 2022. So far the available regions are shown to be the EU and the US. Availability on the platforms once again are split into two, physical and digital editions. The physical retail box will be available for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Digitally, it will be available on Windows, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series S and X. Games-wise, Arcade Paradise is the game we are getting in the box. The game is being described as transform the old laundromat where you do nothing but go on boring errands like cleaning or throwing out the trash into an arcade with the coolest games in town and win tons of dough. The game loop does seem to be interesting. You wake up from your sleep and you go to work at the laundromat. In the said laundromat, you wash and dry clothes, unclog toilets, clean chewing gum, pick up rubbish, and put bins into bigger wheelie bins. After these chores, you will collect coins from the washing, convert the back room into an arcade with playable arcades, and changing the size of this room as you go. Collect more coins from each arcade machine, buy more arcades using the in-game interwebs browser and the in-game website Arcade Mania. From that point onwards, cabinets will arrive after a set amount of days. Pretty cool in my opinion. Moving on to features, this game boasts the following over 35 arcade games, or games that are inspired on arcade games up to the 32-bit era. An upgradable arcade space, in-game interwebs where you can buy the arcades, check and adjust costings per arcade machine, upkeep the machines, multiplayer is included which has local, co-op and competitive which is up to 4 players, online leaderboards and a retro soundtrack. Like I mentioned earlier, after some research the retail edition will come with the following: the base game, a reversible sleeve, a double-sided A3 poster, Arcade Paradise EP download, and a sticker sheet. Also on a side note, Gerald's voice, which is the father of the main character in the game, is voiced by Doug Cockle, who also does the voice of Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher franchise. So moving on to what we don't know, a physical retail box in other regions. This does seem to be an ongoing issue here when we're talking about retail boxes. We don't know if any of the other regions will get this game in a physical edition. So far, like I said earlier, only the EU and the US have been verified to be getting this boxed edition. The size limit of the arcade. I can't find online any reference to the limitation on the size of the arcade, or at least the size it could become as you play the game. So as of this video, we do not know the limitations of size of the arcade. Other areas in the game, kind of springboarding off the size limit here. If we max out our arcade / laundromat, are there any other areas we can buy inside the game? Is it only limited to one area? We just don't know. Gameplay loop. Will the game loop of washing, cleaning, playing games and collecting coins be the whole game? Will the laundromat mini-games stop having to be played after a while? When eventually your arcade becomes more successful, would you still have to to play all the minigames in the laundromat? We'll just have to wait and see. Other in-game characters. The game does seem to be a little empty, at least when it comes to characters. We do not see any characters in the trailers or in the gameplay images. Are there any other characters physically in the game? More arcade games coming in the future as free updates or DLC. No mention at all of any post-game content coming to the game if it is successful. Hopefully, the game will be successful so we can see more ideas for arcade-inspired games from the developer. So, are there any requests for this game? Other mini-games for arcade upkeep? If the gameplay loop at the beginning of the game is to run a laundromat, when you have a bigger arcade, will you have to continue with this business? Hopefully, there is a transition between the main aim being running the laundromat to running the arcade. We have already seen gameplay of the player fixing an arcade board, but it would be nice to have other minigames of this type, like fixing a broken CRT or a malfunctioning light up marquee, replacing the controls on the machines themselves, even cleaning the arcade machine screens, control decks and marquees. So these are the sort of features that I would like to see definitely in this game, as I think it will give longevity, and it's also a little bit of personal interest because I love arcade machines and I love arcades. So definitely a feature I would love to see added in the game. Upgrades for the arcade machines. It would be cool to have an upgrade feature in the game to buy better parts like speakers, buttons, sticks, which would cost more for the player to buy, but would yield a higher return in the long run. More than one laundromat. To keep the game going, hopefully there will be more than one location for the player to convert into an arcade. This would keep the player busy and keep the initial game loop a part of the gameplay for more than a few hours, because my fear so far is that we have this very interesting game and very interesting gameplay loop, but it will be a very limited one. So hopefully, if we have more than one gameplay area, we can have one fully functioning arcade. The minigames on this will be mostly focused on the running of the arcade itself, and then we'd have another area where we're just starting off and we start the gameplay loop from the beginning. So a little bit of a difference, but keeps the game going. Lastly, I think it is awesome to see new game ideas just like this one. I love the idea of running a laundromat and turning it into an arcade. Not an idea that leaps to mind straight away. It's silly yet enjoyable to think about, and hopefully it will be the same to play. Little bit of silliness, but a lot of enjoyment. So what do you think of Arcade Paradise coming to the Nintendo Switch? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? How would you change it? Please leave your impression down in the comment section. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much again for watching. If you want to help out the channel, please click that like, subscribe and notification bell for more of our content in the future. And until then, thanks again.